Ace walked over to a rusty rear wheel off of a farm tractor. Like the sign, it had the Hogwarts emblem scrawled on it. Professor McGonagall put a hand on Ace's shoulder to stop her for a moment.
By the way, we aren't sending you alone to watch over the students. Alistair Moody will be meeting you when you arrive,
she told her.
Good, he owes me 5 galleons.
Ace laughed and touched the portkey so she could endure the nauseating form of travel wizards preferred. She'd take the doctor's driving, or even travel with a vortex manipulator, over portkeys any day. Faringham, Herefordshire. Alistair Mad-Eye Moody stood next to a bale of hay in one of the fields making up the Oakham farm. As soon as he saw the flash of light that indicated a portkey use, he had his wand out, pointing it at the young woman laying on the ground. "Get up, whoever you are," he demanded.
Get that, you old target dummy,
Ace shouted, barely keeping the vomit at bay. She slowly got to her feet while she took a deep breath to keep her lunch down.
You owe me 3.5 galleons, by the way,
she told him with a warm smile, giving him the personal password they had set up. The plan had been for Ace to go around telling everyone Alistair owed her 5 galleons, but would ask for 3.5 when she needed to prove who she was. Mad-Eye Moody used the magical blue orb he had received his nickname from, and looked at the woman claiming to be his old friend Ace. He saw the various bits of future technology she had stashed on her person, and the wand that could only belong to her. "Dorothy Ann, where the hell have you been for the last 16 years? He shouted. The fact that he was holding his arms open for a hug took most of the sting out of his words. Ace hugged the battered old oar. When she let go, she stepped back and looked at him with mock anger.
Call me that again and I'll give Jack your home address,
she threatened. Mad-Eye held up his hands in surrender. From the very first time he had met Ace, he had known she wasn't a witch. His replacement eye had shown him that her wand was nothing of the sort. Over the first couple of months he had known her, Ace had shown a willingness to risk her life for members of the Order of the Phoenix on several occasions. This was what had finally earned his trust. When he eventually confronted Ace about what he knew, she took him to meet her friend and fellow Black Cat, Captain Jack Harkness. "Anything but that," Mad-Eye begged playfully. "Anyone who flirts with me has to be out of their mind or wanting something really, really desperately. With Jack, I think it's a mixture of both," he laughed. A buzz in his pocket made him look at the portkey. "Students coming. Best not to appear sentimental around them," he warned and went back to scowling. When the students were all accounted for, the tour guide led them to the Scarecrow. He told them what little the Ministry of Magic knew about its history and gave each of them a chance at blasting it. Even Mad-Eye took a couple of tries, using some lesser-known but very destructive spells. When everyone had finished, Moody nudged Ace and whispered, "I'm interested in seeing if your wand has any effect on that stubborn thing." Ace shrugged and shooed the students away from the Scarecrow. She took up a firing stance in front of it and slid a bump on her wand over to set it for plasma bolts. A bright green bolt of plasma shot from the tip of her wand and struck the Scarecrow's center of mass. The way the plasma played over the surface and then suddenly vanished told Ace exactly what was happening in the sleepy little village of Faringham. The Scarecrow had been suspended in a complex and impenetrable time loop. There was only one race in all of the universe that used that type of technology. Considering what planet they were on, it didn't take much to figure out which of the Time Lords had done this. Ace was about to say something snarky about the doctor being a kindly wizard, when she caught motion in the cornfield out of the corner of her eye.
"Everyone down! Alistair, shields!"
she ordered, trusting her battle instincts. The students dropped to the ground, and Mad-Eye swung his wand around in a broad circle. Sickly green energy blasts bounced off his hastily erected shields. 4 Death Eaters stepped out of the fields, blasting curses flying from their wands. The only Death Eater not wearing a mask addressed the captive group. "Well, well, if it isn't Mad-Eye Moody playing wet nurse," he chuckled. He reached up and touched an engraved scarab hanging around his neck. The Death Eater was instantly surrounded by a yellow glow which faded quickly. "Damn it!" Mad-Eye swore. "Ah, Mad-Eye, I see you recognize the Scarab of Ramsey. Good. That will make things easier," the Death Eater told him. "As you know, this amulet will protect me from the first 3 magical attacks set against me once activated," he explained.
Now here is how things are going to play out. My fellow Death Eaters and I will continue to hex your shield until it fails. When it does, you will be unable to harm me while I kill you, and my friends kill off the mudbloods and blood traders among these students. The Dark Lord will be ever so pleased with me for bringing him your head, Moody, he monologued in true villainous fashion. Ace stepped in front of Mad-Eye, glaring at the lead Death Eater.
Piss off, you goat-buggering bastard!
She yelled while making an obscene hand gesture. The Death Eater wearing the amulet snarled and threw a powerful curse at the shield Mad-Eye was using to protect them. The force of the curse caused the old Auror to wince in pain as he struggled to keep the shield up. Sweat popped up on his brow as he swiveled his glowing blue eye to look at Ace. "Well, I approve of your spirit, lass. I don't see how that helped much," he swore between clenched teeth.
It helped more than you know, Alistair.
Ace replied, her face set in a predatory grin.
It told me that he can see me, which means that light has to be able to pass through whatever he is using for a shield,
she explained while changing the settings on her wand. "Okay, so he can see us. What does that—" Mad-Eye started to say. He stopped in mid-sentence when a bright red beam lanced out of Ace's wand to strike the Death Eater in the groin. Her opponent had time to scream before she used the ultra-high-intensity laser to trace a line up the front of the Death Eater. The two halves of the very dead man split apart as he toppled over. The other Death Eaters were in shock when they witnessed the gruesome end their leader had come to. They paid no attention to the fact that Mad-Eye Moody, the most dangerous Dark Hunter to ever live, had dropped his shields. They definitely failed to notice that Ginny and Luna had taken their wands out.
"Stupefy!"
the girls yelled while Mad-Eye sent a nonverbal crushing hex into the Death Eater on his left. The wand arm of that foe shattered as the hex struck him. The other two Death Eaters fell over, paralyzed. Once Mad-Eye had collected the Death Eater's wands, he crushed them under his artificial foot, breaking them into splinters. "They were waiting for us, which means someone in the Ministry must have told them we were coming," he spat. Ginny and Luna were the last two students to leave, and the red-headed girl spun around when she heard Mad-Eye speak.
"Harry! We have to warn Harry!"
she yelled. Mad-Eye looked at Ginny and shook his head. "I've tried sending a message to Tonk using our Order of the Phoenix coins. I even tried apparating there, but something is blocking me," he explained. "They're on their own until we can figure out how to rescue them," he told her sadly.